Welcome to Transformators. Transformators are the people who have achieved exponential success in their lives and in their careers. These are the people who have gone on to write amazing success stories. In this video series, I invite these people and I speak to them about their success journey, because success leaves clues. And I would like all of you to pick these clues and become successful in your own success journey. Now, the only thing which is common amongst all these people is I have played some role at some point in their career in helping them succeed, either as a coach, as a trainer, and these inputs would have definitely helped them in achieving what they have achieved today. So please be a part of this journey and try to understand what can work for you, what inputs that you can pick up from their career journey, their success journey, which can make you also successful. Hi, my name is Anjani B Kuumar and welcome to my channel. Today in the episode 2 of Transformators, we are going to meet somebody who has a very unique career, who comes from a media tech background. She actually started her career as a producer and director of documentaries for BBC and Discovery, and later on made a switch to the digital distribution field, where she leads today a 600-member global team as a vice president of the operations for the company. Now, this is a great journey which she has covered. She's an alumni of Columbia Business School and an amazing personality. And I happened to meet her and coach her at a point where she was looking for the shift in her career. And after that, there is an amazing success journey that she has achieved. So let's speak to her and let's understand how she has been able to create this amazing success story and what are the inputs that she can give all of you to succeed in your lives and in your careers. So hi Ashika, welcome to my channel and thank you for spending time to talk to our viewers. And extremely delighted to have you as a part of this video series.
Thank you, Anjani. It's really good to be here. I don't know if I'm accomplished enough, but yeah, let's give it a go.
No, that is something, that really keeps you going, because the moment you get the feeling that you have accomplished everything, then you stop there, right? So I think, this is extremely happy to hear this from you. So that's great. So I think, I've given a small introduction about you to the viewers, but I think it'll be a great idea if you can just take them through your success journey. What are some of the key elements that have worked for you, the differentiators, and it'll be great for them to know about some of these things.
Sure. So really my career path is the path less taken in a lot of ways, because I didn't start out with any corporate ambitions whatsoever. I took the unconventional route, and I'm talking about in the 90s, right, of wanting to become a creator of content. Back when, my parents looked at me and said, films? You want to make films? And things like that. I come from a very academic family, so it was like, what are you doing? You don't know what you're doing and all of that. So, but of course, that was something that I really felt passionate about at a really young age. And it was also, India had just become liberalized, at the risk of showing you how old I am. India had just become liberalized. The broadcast industry had opened up in an unbelievable way. And so for young people like me at that time, this was something that was really exciting. And I had nobody in the industry. Nobody went before me. I didn't know a single soul, to be precise, in the industry. But I did go to Australia and do my master's in media production. That was the only way my very, very, studious parents would ever allow a good South Indian girl like me to even move to Mumbai. So I did do my master's in media production in Australia. And that was really the the beginning of the journey for me in some ways, because it was not a traditional master's. I didn't write a single exam. You arrived, they gave you a Betacam HD, said this is how you turn it on, and this is the Media 100, this is how you edit on it. And it was really a practical master's in content creation, which was really what I was looking for, because I already had a master's in English, right? I told you I'm South Indian. So that really was the start of the journey for me. But it's a series of very brave moves, Anjani, that led to whatever success I got, right? I mean, in the sense that you can't want to do something different and be afraid.
Yeah.
Right? And so I feel like bravery was the key career planner in my life, because there was nothing really planned out. I just wanted to make really good shows. I wanted to make really good content. Plus, my Hindi was not the best. I did ICSE Hindi, but that's the extent of it. So to enter an industry where Hindi was the predominant language, and to kind of make your mark as a content creator, director, producer, whatever you may call it, and also to come from Australia and start as an assistant director earning $5,000 a film is also a good wake-up call to, okay, is this really my passion, or do I want to do something else? So when I look back, I spent 14 years doing that. Of course, I did direct for major broadcasters, went on to direct for major broadcasters, but really the learning was, my graph is not everybody else's graph, right? And my time will come when it comes, right? And my opportunity will come when it comes. But I have to be passionate about what I do. I have to believe in what I do, and I have to kind of keep at it, right? And not give up. So that really was the initial journey of my career, right? And then, of course, at one point in my late 30s, I thought I was going to retire for family reasons. And so I gave up that career. And I moved back to Bangalore, which is my hometown, to kind of, look at what else I should do with my life, right? What else that will keep me home at Christmas, family birthdays, and so on and so forth. So giving up that career was not an easy call. Like I said, it was my passion, it was my calling, it was what I really, really wanted to do, and what I believe I was decently good at. So, to give that up in your late 30s is again a very, very brave move. And so came back to Bangalore and went from creative director to manager at an IT company, because they needed somebody who knew the industry, because they were servicing that industry from a media services background, right? And when I look at the second innings of my career, I think what stands out and what I would really like to say is, yes, be brave, but also become a subject matter expert. Know your subject really, really well, because that is what will hold you in the changing tide of the industry, the AI, the advent of new technology. Become a subject matter expert at whatever field you choose, and that is what will hold you good, right? So really, it's the road less taken. Did not expect to go from manager to vice president in 8 years. That was not the plan. There was no plan. Right. So that is what it is. And so I think that's what I have to say about that. Yeah.
And you went on to study at Columbia Business School also, right?
Yes. So that's the other thing, right? So, life gives you opportunities. Life gives you a chance, right? And then you have to take it and optimize it, right? So in the first 3 years that I joined a corporate, I went from manager to associate vice president. And then I found that, hey, I'm almost an imposter, because I'm not from the corporate world. I have never done corporate operations. So what right do I have to be here? And I have to say that my coaching journey with you was the inflection point in that in that moment of, okay, now I've come this far, and what is stopping me from going further, right? What is it that I need to do to upskill, to better myself, to make myself available for the next level of my journey? Right. And so when I kind of decided to part ways with the organization that had seen me grow from manager to associate vice president, it was not because I wanted to kind of turn my back on them. I think I tried everything to stay there and find new things to do. right? And that was a journey of almost a year, where I looked at new business lines, I looked at new ways of doing business, tried everything that I could, because I'm a very loyal person, right? And I believe loyalty is very, very important. But also at some point, you have to kind of put your chips down, put your cards down on the table and say, hey, this is what I have in front of me. What do I do next? So moving on from the organization that I'd spent 5 years with was a tough call, but a needed call. I was very comfortable there. I loved my boss. My boss loved me. They say never leave a good boss. But here you are trying to having to make that decision. And, it could very well have turned out that I bombed after that, right? So, because who knows what kind of boss you get in the future, who knows what kind of opportunity you get in the future. And as fate would have it, I actually did bomb the minute I left that previous organization, because I joined a startup as a vice president, very excited about the product that they had, very close to my area of expertise and all of that. But within 4 months, it became clear that it was going nowhere. Yeah. And I was not a fit for that organization, right? So 5 months after I left a very happy job, I was very, very unhappy and having to move again. And it's at times like that when you've had somebody to coach you before that or during that is when you fall back on the lessons that you have learned. And you say, okay, I've bombed, now what? Right? Do I hang up my boots for the second time, or do I say what next for me? And that's how Columbia Business School came into play. Right? I said, okay, I'm leaving this job. I don't have another job. I don't have a plan. Let me go back and upskill. Let me prep myself for the successful future that I want to have. Right? And then if it follows, it follows. Right? So that's really how Columbia Business School happened. I'm now an alumni of the business school. I finished my executive program in management through the pandemic, actually. And so that's how that happened. And then, on the same month that I got accepted into Columbia, I also got a job leading a team of 600 people. Yeah. So, again, be brave. Take it, what do you have to lose, right? So everyone thought I was crazy at the age that you are to kind of take on studies and a new job, leading operations for a very, very large global team, a team that services global players. And so, it was just it was an interesting time. It was a very, very tough few months. You're getting to know a new organization. You're also trying to study at one of the best universities in the world, Ivy League and all of that. And here I am. Hello, I did BA in journalism. How am I here, right? So that's really how the business school story unfolded.
No, that's wonderful to hear, and I think from a viewer's perspective, couple of things, which are very important. One, obviously, at the beginning, just pursuing your passion and trying to do whatever, you want to do, experiment with it. And then taking risks all the while and trying to do things, in a very different manner. What you said is in terms of, not just, getting worried about, getting compared to others, what they're doing, but, crafting your own career journey. I think it's a great example for people, who are watching this, because especially, when you spoke about this whole move from a manager to a vice president, managing, 700 people, that is something, which actually, when I coach people, I look forward to that. This is something, which people should achieve in their careers, right? And you are a very clear example of someone who has actually been able to do that. So that's the amazing part. So that actually brings me to the next question, because my YouTube channel is all about coaching, learning, and that's what, where I spend time in terms of, telling people how they can excel in their careers. So in your view, and some of that you have already spoken about, what role probably, coaching or learning you feel has played in this whole journey?
For one, the coaching role kind of shook me out of my complacency, right? Because as far as I was concerned, I'd had my career. I directed for TLC. I'd done all of that, right? So this was just bonus. This was just, something that I had to do to kind of bring in little money to enjoy my life, right? So the coaching journey really, Anjani, that you did with me shed a lot of light on who I was, what my strengths were, and what my potential was, right?
Yeah.
And it's very easy to say, oh, your potential is this and your potential is that, and this is what you're good at. But it's not about that. It's one thing to know it and one thing to really know it, right? And so you always know you're great, or you think you're good at what you do. But to have somebody kind of break it down for you and say, hey, this is what you're really good at, and this is where you need to develop your skills, or develop your personality, or develop your style of communication, or whatever it may be, right? So I think for me that coaching journey was, like I've said before, the inflection point, where I kind of got, and it's also because we did it with a group of people, right? So you kind of it was a combined thing, right? You did your one-on-ones with us, and also were part of a larger group of leaders that were on similar journeys or different journeys of a similar kind, right? So to be able to kind of see yourself in the light of that, also to see myself in the light of that, was also a good moment for me, right? To recognize what I had and what I didn't have, right? What I needed to build in myself, right? And the journey never stops, right? You keep learning, right? And that's really, really important to know, right? I mean, to go to go back and say, hey, this is an area that I'm getting feedback about, right? So what is it that is getting me this feedback? Why am I here to kind of receive this feedback? And it's not just necessarily good feedback; it's good and bad feedback, right? And not necessarily only bad feedback, right? So you kind of stop the coaching journey and gives you the tools to kind of look at those moments with greater clarity. Right? I know you did the Johari window with me, and it was such an aha moment for me. Such an aha moment, without wanting to reveal my results. But, it was like, okay, and I always thought that was the way you were to live your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's after that I made an effort to kind of change the status quo, mix it up, look at what the other person needs also, right? Because when you're leading large teams, you're leading that many personalities, right? You're leading that many aspirations. You're leading that many personal baggage also, to some extent, right? So it's very important to be able to wear different hats, and to do that, you need to know what your hat is, right? Otherwise, you won't be able to switch, right? So I think that way the coaching journey is, it's an absolute must. I would have never known it if I hadn't had it, and I'm really thankful that I was given the opportunity for you to coach me. But I would have never been able to kind of see things in the light that I see them today, if that journey hadn't started with the coaching that I got from you.
No, that's amazing, because and the whole idea is that when people like you talk about this whole process, that gives confidence to others also who are watching it, because many a times you don't realize, you don't know what it can do to you. That's the most important thing. And if there are people who have gone through this process, who understand what difference it has made to their lives, I think this really gives confidence to a much larger population. And especially, my whole objective is, the younger lot which is entering the corporate world, because, they are the future, CXOs, right? And we have to really prepare them. And unfortunately, you have worked in the corporate world. I have worked for so many years. We know that there are very few corporates who have a very clearly defined learning path. It's more one of things which keep on happening, and so that's the objective with which I also try to help people. But just coming back, I must tell you that when I was thinking about having this conversation, I even went back to remembering some of the initial sessions that I had with you, and in fact I was referring to some of the notes also which I had made, and I was looking at some of the data from there, and it was so amazing, because you go back and you have discussed about a certain plan, and today when I'm talking to you, I'm actually getting a feel that that whole plan has been actually achieved, right? I even remember when you were going for Colombia, we had a conversation, you had called me, and then we had discussed about that. So that's the amazing part, and from that perspective, I think building a plan and delivering it. What are your thoughts, for people, who are watching this?
So, you can do all the planning you want, right? But at some point, you have to be ready to strike when the opportunity comes, right? And that no amount of planning will prepare you for that, right? So, which is why, I go back to my point of become an SME. become a subject matter expert on whatever you are doing, right? Whatever you want to do, right? And then that kind of gives you the foundation to be there and show up when the opportunity knocks, right? So to be very honest, after I bombed in the startup that I was at, the job that I took after that, which is where I'm now vice president, is something that I did not take seriously. I said, hey, this has come along. It's paying okay, and I did really need the money. Okay, let me be also honest, right? I was okay financially, not where I would have wanted to be, but yeah, I could have tided it over. But I said to myself, hey, let's take it, right, and let's see what happens with it, right? And unfortunately or unfortunately, things worked out in a way that where after a year and a half, I really got into a great position. So sometimes you're not going to get it on a platter. You're not going to get that opportunity dressed as the way you wanted it to be, right? But I think take that leap of faith, trust in yourself, be brave, and know your stuff, right? Know your stuff really well. And sometimes it just works. And so unfortunately, I don't have a roadmap, right? Because if I look at my graph, it's not everybody's graph. It's not most people's graph. It's really unusual, right? That I find myself where I am today. And to be honest, I love it. Like if you'd asked me in 2014, will you sit at a desk? I'd have said a desk job. I can edit for you. I can edit all night. I can edit 24 hours straight, but I cannot sit at a desk, right? And so, you kind of open yourself up to the possibility of, okay, chalo, I'll go train them for a few hours and come. And that kind of thing, right? So don't close yourself off, right, to the possibilities that you have within you, right? And keep your mind open and keep learning. And that's really where you will, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. So interestingly, these days when I interact with youngsters, and I was telling you about, preparing them for those CXO roles. And one of them, one of the things that I always tell them is, prepare yourself for earning that 8-figure salary in rupee terms, hitting that 1 crore benchmark. And because many people, they get very scared that, is that something which is possible? And see, unless, in my view, unless you have a big ambition, you will not reach there, right? Because you have also played, this journey that you have covered from a manager to a vice president and especially, managing, such a large group of people in your role, because not necessarily, all the people who are at senior levels, have such a big span. So from that perspective, what is your view about, motivating people to again, grow in this manner and build that ambition?
So honestly, when I first heard Anjani talk about an 8-figure salary, I was like, it's ludicrous. Why do I need that much money? First of all, and am I ever going to get there? I mean, come on. I left the industry where I could have got there very easily. So what is this 8-figure thing that he keeps talking about, right? So like I said, the coaching journey opened my mind, right? It opened me up to the possibilities that existed, right? And that is really the first step of the journey. But it can't stop there. Yeah, you have to say that, okay, the possibility is there. What next, right? How do I make myself the best possible person to achieve that possibility? Now, you can also achieve it by playing a lot of games, by going the crooked route, right? You can pull other people down. You can do those things, right? Or you can not let other people grow around you. So we've seen all kinds of people around us, right? But at the end of the day, for me, what is important is that I lead a team of 600 people, but I go to bed very happy, and my people are happy, and I'm happy doing my job. Right? So there is no game playing. There is no, kind of strategizing to see what one-upmanship I can get in a situation. Just put your head down and do your job, and you'll be good. You'll be fine, And so that really is something that I strongly believe in, right? And it's something that has taken me far, right? It's worked for me. So I would say that, don't get caught up into the politics and the games and the all of that. Just do what you're really good at and distance yourself. Yeah, there will be people who don't believe in you. There will be people who don't want you on their teams, right? There will be people who don't want to give you an opportunity. It's not for you. Move on. there'll be something else, believe me, right? And Anjani was part of one of those situations where I wasn't being given a chance to reach my potential, right? And he and I both knew it. But what do we say? We sit down and say, life is not working for me. I'll just sit here. Nothing's happening. Nobody wants me to succeed. Or do you say, hey, not this, something else, right? But in all of that, please make it very clear. Loyalty is very important, right? People invest in you, you need to invest back in them, right? And only when like I say to my team, right? Only when the QCR on the floor succeeds, will I succeed, right? If he's having a tough time, if he's making errors, I can't succeed, right? And when I can't succeed, the organization can't succeed. So be invested in other people's success, which also brings me to this whole mentoring thing, right? Find yourself a mentor. Right, I was very lucky in the first phase of my career to have a really solid mentor, right, when I was in the industry. And it was somebody I didn't know at all, but kind of worked with him on a few projects, and then he became the kind of voice in your head, right? Yeah. Just like parents are the voice in your head, your workplace mentors are the voice in your head. It's the way you deal with situations that a mentor can help you with. And so coach/mentor or coach and mentor are very, very critical, important people in your professional journey.
Absolutely. So great. I think these are really great inputs, which definitely viewers would have found a lot of value in them. So just to conclude and summarize, maybe if you can if you want to put maybe everything what you have achieved, maybe 3 key things that people should take as a key takeaway from this whole conversation. How would you like to conclude that?
Be brave, be passionate, and become a subject matter expert.
Excellent. So in fact, I also keep telling people is that, if you add more value, you become more valuable.
That's true.
That's the approach that, people should take. So excellent. So I think we had a great time, I think, meeting after such a long time and having this conversation with you. And thank you very much for taking out time. And obviously, we'll keep talking, and I'm sure that our viewers would have found this conversation meaningful, useful, and they will use some of the learnings that came out through your career journey and what you have achieved. So thank you very much for that. And
thank you, Anjani. But like I keep saying, I still have miles to go, everyone, and the journey doesn't stop here for me. And hopefully, we'll catch up in a few more years. But thank you so much for thinking of me, and thank you for the pivotal inflection role you played in my life, and I hope many other people benefit from that kind of coaching. So yeah,
absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anjani.